Hey everyone, welcome to East Coast Magazine interview with no other than musical producer, musical director, Grammy nominated, my
Yes.
boy, Adam Blackstone.
What's up, Shay? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank
East Coast
you.
Mag, we're gonna represent the East Coast everywhere we go. So
Yes,
it's
the
all good.
talent
I'm
is
glad to I'm
here.
glad to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. The talent is here. You know what East Coast, what we do is we highlight or we give flowers to the artists that are up and coming or that are already made an impact in the culture. And Adam is no other than someone like that. He's made a great impact in the culture. Come from, I want to say, Willingboro, New Jersey.
That's right. That's right. Jersey born, and definitely I feel honored to have grown up where I grew up. Willingboro was a very affluent black community.
Yes.
Um, it was coming from where my parents came from in Trenton, New Jersey. It was like you make it to Willingboro, you done made it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
suburbs, and I saw black musicians, black doctors, black lawyers, and black bankers, and it really prepared me for black excellence. And I'm excited
Yes.
about that. I moved to Philly in 2000 for school, and then I've been there ever since. So like definitely Philly bred and raised a lot of it.
A lot of it, a lot of it. Yes, we have some of the upbringing, same thing. You know, East Coast Magazine, we definitely coming from Camden and Philadelphia area, so
Yeah,
it's a tri-state thing.
for sure,
It's a
all day.
tri-state thing, and I always say like it's a lot of talent in New Jersey and Philadelphia. So you are a prime example of
Yes,
that.
absolutely. I think growing up where I grew up and being a part of Jersey culture and then the Philly sound has helped shape who I am today. And then like people look for that from me all across the world.
Right, right. I know, like it's just so amazed by you, just so
Thank you
amazed
very
by
much.
you and everything that he's done. Like he said, from Willingboro, New Jersey, then all across the world. That's like amazing. So I want to talk about a little bit of your upbringing, your childhood. What was your childhood like? I know you said to a lot of affluent people, but like,
Yeah.
were you your music? Were you in choir? Were you in bands?
Yeah, well, I mean, growing up in church for sure. My
Of
parents
course.
were a huge part of, the music ministry at our church. My dad played organ and still does, and keys, and what we would call now today like a wedding band guy. But like he was really the first, musical director that I saw. He formulated his own set list, and he did everything from bar mitzvahs to banquets to funerals, church services, and whatever the case may be, and had the party rocking like as a one man band. So really seeing him grow up and really make music his first love and passion for a job really inspired me and allowed me, even my parents, to give me freedom to pursue a career in the arts. My mom was in the choir and
Yes.
plays piano a little bit and reads music, and so like it was very very inspirational to have her be a huge part of my success as far as like pushing me and allowing me the freedom to grow in the creative arts.
Okay, okay, that's amazing. I feel like a lot of up and coming like African American artists have that choir background, that church. You gotta have
Church.
that
Oh yeah, we
church.
got that church. That allows us to be ready for anything on any stage. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, when that spirit hit, you just gotta go with it. And then I liken that to anything going right or wrong on a big stage, whether it's Madison Square Garden or your little local church. It's like, be in the moment, be prepared.
Be
So
present.
church has totally helped me with that.
Awesome, awesome. So when did you start picking up the bass? That was your first love?
No, I was a drummer in my head
Okay,
first.
okay.
I think every little black boy wants to play drums, but when we moved to Willingboro and I got to second, third grade, my music teacher was like, "Okay, we have a void at bass." I know he knew my family a little bit and knew that we were musicians. They were musicians. And so I switched to the bass. At that moment, I hated it. That's when back in the day you used to walk to school. You don't remember that. You don't remember
Yeah,
that.
I never had to
We
walk to
used
school, but some kids did
Oh
in my
yeah, no, we
town.
walked to school. So I was like, I ain't carrying this instrument. I want to carry the drumsticks.
Right.
But one of the best decisions I ever made. I appreciate him. I never forget him, Mr. Matlack, my band
Okay.
teacher, and just imparting and sewing into me and actually seeing something in me that knew that I would be able to handle that switch and change and one of the best musical decisions I've ever made.
Wow, wow. And always like think about like your life and you always go back to like your teacher or
Hmm.
like you said your church, makes a great artist, having those influences there. So
For sure.
like you said, without that person, the sticks would have been for you, but maybe not
We don't
where
know.
you
We
are
not.
where you are
You know
now.
what? We never gonna know. That's a good
Right.
thing.
Right. So I think it was a great choice that you picked up the bass. You
I
picked up the
think so
bass.
too.
So you said like your family was also musicians. So besides your dad and your mom, is anyone else in the family?
Yeah, so I'm my whole entire family, aunts, uncles. My uncle was in a group called Devoted. They was like the gospel Jodeci,
Oh,
you know.
devoted. That sounds like a gospel
Yeah,
Jodeci
they
name.
was killing. Listen, for me, they got a record deal on Savoy Records, and I was a teenager, and I was like, yo, my uncle got a deal. My cousin, Norwood Young, he signed to Sony at a very young age as well. My aunts were choir directors all over the town. Very, very, just affluent,
In the music.
in music in our town in New Jersey. Like I said, my dad as well just opened the doors for a lot of local Trenton
Talent.
musicians and stuff and talent to like be able to you know locally see a lot of different stages. So I was around it my whole life, and
No choice. It was put in
yeah, I didn't.
it.
I definitely had no choice, but I wasn't forced on me either.
Yes. They allowed
Um,
you to choose your path.
for sure, and I didn't know whether that would be teaching. At one point, I was heavy into like video games, so I was like, I'll do music for gaming, and when I moved to Philly, it just took off for me the live thing, and that really allowed me to see um, the vision to do what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about where it took off. So around what time and like what jump started that,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
me I moved to Philly in 2000. I was doing every little gig, local, jazz clubs, restaurants, whatever. And then I walked into this open mic spot called the Five Spot, and then it was life changing. Come to find out, it was run by the Roots and
Shout out to the
Questlove, and
Roots.
shout out to the Roots crew, my big
Yes.
brothers, and rest in peace, Rich Nichols. He kind of took me under his wing because I was super hungry to get involved in what they were doing and hearing new sounds that I had never heard before. Even though I was right over the bridge in Jersey, it still felt like
Different.
a different environment to me. And I was like, I want to be here. I want to be engulfed in this music and this culture and this phenomenon at that time, which was neo soul. And
Yes. Love
yeah,
neo
and
soul.
they really took me under their wing. And my first big break was playing at the Five Spot for sure. And at
Okay.
that time, anybody could come through there. It was Jill Scott, Music Soul Child, Indy Ivory, Eric
Legends,
Benet,
legends, legends.
Bilal. Anybody could be Jazzy Fat Nasties. It was just like, anybody could go through there. So like you had to be prepared and bring your A game.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Like, so you were like in the beginning of all of that jump start and what we call neo soul, which is really a Philadelphia sound. I feel like.
For sure, yeah. I and even for me, like I wasn't on the tail end, but I was right in the middle. It had jumped off, a little bit before me, but like right when it was booming and everybody was, going really nuts, and the artists who weren't from Philly were coming to Philly to kind of soak it up.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were seeing, I was seeing people in the studio like, Brandy and Erica Badu and Anthony Hamilton and Justin
Yes.
Timberlake was in Philly a couple times working with Dre and Vidal and
JT.
Usher, and
Yes.
it's like
Usher.
all these people were like, what is going on in Philly?
Philly. Yeah. That's what's jumping off.
And
Yeah.
it's jumping off, and it's giving you something soulful. It's giving you something
the
passionate.
love,
It's giving
yes.
you, the love of music.
And the musicianship, the
It
different.
was a resurgence of musicianship, so I definitely know that I came at the right time because
Yes.
that's who I was. I was highly engulfed in production and playing the bass like super heavy. So Philly had a huge part to do with my jump start.
Yeah, I feel like definitely Philly has its own sound. That's why I'm really big on What ECM is like building the Philadelphia brand, this New Jersey brand is so much talent. It's so different than any other city.
It is.
It doesn't always get talked about as much as other cities like LA or New York, but Philly definitely has its own
We
sound,
right up
its
there,
own
though.
culture.
We right up there.
Right
for
up
sure.
there. And we need to respect. We need to respect. Okay, y'all? Put some respect on Philadelphia's name in New Jersey, because
That's
Jersey
right.
got some hitters too.
That's right.
So let's talk about, the transition of just doing the gigs and doing the clubs to when you work with like your big major artists. What was the big major artist you either went on tour with or played with?
Yeah, my first huge gig was Jay-Z.
What?
2003, Fade to Black tour. It was his farewell concert.
He came back so many. He retired so many times.
Man, he done retired a couple of times, but I'm thankful that he didn't. Trust me.
Yes.
Excuse me. So yeah, my first big gig was Jay-Z, 2003, the Fade to Black. Amir Questlove Thompson was the musical director.
Nice.
As I had mentioned, I had been super involved in what the Roots were doing, and he asked me to join him as the bass player. And from that one gig, it just spawned so many relationships for me. I met Kanye there. I met Kanye there. Through Kanye, I met Rihanna. Through Rihanna, I met Drake. Through Drake, I met like Janet. You know what I mean? Through Janet, I met Justin. It's just like that one life-changing moment.
It only takes one moment, right?
It took one moment, to
Establish and make those connections.
make the connections, and also just it helped me also know to be prepared at all times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You never
Because if I
know.
would have not been prepared for that moment and people saw that or artists saw that, they wouldn't want to work with me. So like really putting my best foot forward, not
Yeah.
knowing who was going to be there.
Right.
I wanted to always just show and prove, that put my best foot forward, and that I cared about the music and wanted the artist to feel that way as well. So that's carried me through today, and I still try to give that same effort and energy.
Yes. I think you said something that's really important right there when you were saying like you should always be prepared. My mother always says that too. Like, no matter how you feel, get up and get out, go get dressed, put your best foot forward, do your best work, because you never know who's going to see you.
That's
You
right.
never know what moments you may run into, and always, like you said, I think perception is also reality, how someone perceives you. So definitely we're here too in the business. I always want to give that standard of like excellence of, we're putting your best foot forward, we're working hard, and we're giving you, great content. So I think it's a true testimony to any entrepreneur, anybody rising up.
Yeah.
That's a good jewel, a good gem.
Be prepared at all times. It only takes one moment for you to succeed because of preparedness or fail because of your lack of preparedness.
Right. I agree. So that is awesome. So what was it like? So you talked about, you met all these different connections. What was
Yeah.
it like doing that though? Because you're Adam Blackstone. People then probably didn't know who you are. Now
Yeah.
now they're starting to run into you. What was that like? Was it kind of easy? Was it a little bit hard?
Yeah,
Favor of God is different. I thought you walk in favor.
I'm definitely
so,
have favor for sure.
so-
And like I think that I walk in it in confidence, knowing that what's for me is for me. So at the end of the
It's true.
day, when I am either approaching or getting approached, I'm doing it with confidence and with the ease of, number one, also not to keep harping on it, but knowing that I am prepared for whatever's ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? Like I already know that I know this person's music. I already know if I don't know it, I'm gonna study it like nobody else, and continue to put the best product out there that represents them. Because it's not about me when you're hired as a side musician or MD. It's about me executing their vision. And so I think that that word traveled around, that I was able to really bring each artist's vision to life like that. And so it I don't want to say that it was easy, but if you're in the right place at the right time and prepared and know how to treat people and know how to talk to people, like it can happen for you in just conversation.
Right.
And your name, I just want to say to specifically even young musicians, like your name travels without you even being in the room. So
True.
make sure what they're saying about you is all positive.
That is another good gem, because you never know. I've also heard people say sometimes your name is mentioned in rooms that you're not even in. So it just confirms something I've also heard. Grinding and also in the industry and working my way up, because that's true.
It's very
People
true.
do talk about you and how they perceive you, how you treat people. It definitely matters. So I definitely agree with you there. And I feel like you're so humble, even though you've done so much. Like your
Yeah.
character, you still have a real genuine, humble
I think you
character.
have to be in this business. It's a gift. What we are given to us, I know, is a gift from God, and at any time it can be taken away.
True.
Not in a spiteful way, but just tomorrow's not promised. Accidents happen, and then just in a realistic sense, the next person is up next. Each person has their time and space, so it's like it's okay. But as long as you've done everything that you can do to have an attitude of gratitude, and also like be the best me that I can be. I can't be anybody else.
But you.
So and nobody can be me either. I truly
Right.
feel like that.
That's definitely true. So, what does it somewhat take to be you as an MD? Like, can you break that down? People don't know what a musical director actually does. I know you say you create the artist's vision, but what is it somewhat in detail in the layman's terms?
Yeah, I think everything live music oriented is what I deal with. That's everything from stage to rehearsals to at times hiring the band, the personnel, making sure that choreography and lighting matches what I'm doing musically. A lot of what I do now, specifically today, is non-music stuff. I'm doing a lot of logistics. I'm doing a lot of stage plots. I'm doing a lot of mixing.
Okay.
From what you hear on stage now, so that people can hear it through television.
Right.
But everything that happens on that stage is really the musical director's job in one sense or another.
Right. So like some of the award shows like the Grammys.
Yes.
What else? The MTV Awards.
I've done VMAs, BET Awards, Image Awards, Soul Train.
You better say Soul Train's another one.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been a great ride. It's been a great ride.
I'm excited about what the future holds.
Yes.
And continuing to try to just elevate.
Yes. Yes. So let's talk another aspect. As you're elevating, what made you start BBE?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at a point in time around 2011, 2012, I was getting sought after to be a musical director, and I couldn't be at everybody's beck and call, and I also couldn't be in multiple places at one time.
Right, only one person.
I would then send personnel out that I felt represented me, represented my sound, represented who I was as a musician, and my integrity as and character. And so, one day my wife was like, we have to basically structure this. And we started as just strictly as like a music staffing company.
Okay.
So when people called me and I couldn't be there because I was doing something else, I would say, hey, but I can put the band together through my company. What they do represents me. I'll still be involved. I'll still, oversee it. And that's basically how BBE was birthed. At one point, I had about 250 musicians like out on the road just from a recommendation from me, and each artist calling me and saying, "Hey, help me out with my band." And I love doing that. I love seeing people win. I love recommending young talent. It's a win for everybody.
Right.
I don't always have to get the accolades or get the acclaim, because if somebody else is doing it, knowing that I had a part with that is just enough for me.
Right. I think that's amazing that you're able to, start off, like I said, just the legacy that you created. Your story is just so amazing, and then now you're employing other people and giving other people a chance and giving other people opportunity to do something that they love to do, which is music, and keep creating that sound,
For sure.
And then also being a young, gifted and black, quote Nina Simone,
That's right.
it's amazing to what you're doing. So I feel like you mentioned your wife, your lovely wife.
Yeah.
What's her role? Let's talk about her a little bit.
She's the brains of it all. She's the CFO. I mean, I guess her role on paper would be CFO. Like, she allows me to be creative, and she handles the money and the invoicing. But she's definitely co-creator, co-owner as well of BBE, and we have, try to, build a legacy and a company that will live past us. You know what I mean? I'm imparting that into my children. Like, hard work, dedication allows you to have something that will sustain you, allows you to, not necessarily have to go out into a workforce and have, just a product, which BBE is a product that affects the world in a positive way. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It does.
So we, we've tried to build that together, and we continue to learn in business. We learn one another. We learn in business, and she's a huge part of the success that me and the company have had for sure.
Yes. It's a man's world, but it's nothing.
Yeah, I
Not a
don't even know if
woman.
it's a man's world
I don't-
anymore.
Not no more.
That song
Not no
too
more.
old.
With Beyonce, we run the
We
world. That's
need
Beyonce said. He
girls run
changed
the
it.
world for sure.
Yeah, so shout out to your lovely wife and
Yeah,
your
shout out Kaisha.
and your two babies and your family and your mom and everyone else's family. So
Yeah,
they're
family
part
is
of the reason
everything.
why you're here. You know, family keeps you grounded, keeps you pushing, keeps you moving.
That's my legacy right there.
Yes.
So I'm excited to share all of the accolades with them.
I know, that's amazing. So wait, your son, I think didn't he have a co-produced one of the songs with the Grammys for you?
Yeah,
With
so
you?
he co-wrote
What?
on my album.
Okay.
He just performed on Jimmy Fallon's show with me.
Yes, I think I did see the clip, but I didn't see him.
Yeah, he was there. He opened the show, and he's a star. I mean,
Yes.
the problem is he knows it, so it's like. But he's a star. You know, I love seeing him shine. And again, I'm not trying to force it on him, but he's in it every day. And had a movie come out for Halloween for Hulu. He's in a bunch of commercials.
Yeah, I've seen him in the commercials.
He's really doing his thing, so I'm excited.
Yes.
Excited for him and what God is doing in his life.
Yes, legacy, like you said. So,
That's it.
you know, the goal is to have your children do better than you. So I think that's definitely happening
It's
with you.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's
Yeah,
happening.
We have a foundation, as to where we're giving them the knowledge earlier than what we were able to get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the opportunities and the insight and the know-how to do things way earlier than how we figured it out. Just to know that even having like an East Coast magazine or having a music company or whatever is possible.
Right.
You know, he knows that now at 7. You know what I mean? And so the earlier they learn and know, the faster they are able to like affect the world and have a great amount of change.
Right.
For whatever they want to do.
Right, that's amazing. So we're talking about how he helped you co-wrote one of the songs for the Grammys. What is it like preparing for an award show? What is it, what is that kind of like as far as, what is it like just as you're preparing mentally? Are you, the day of, is what I'm meaning.
Oh.
That's what I mean, like day of.
Hopefully day of is easy,
Okay.
meaning that the preparation has already impacted everybody and is in everybody's DNA. The rehearsal schedule is intense for sure, but leading up to day of is kind of like, let's execute what we've worked on so much. And then you have a sound check, you have a dress rehearsal.
How many often do you do the dress rehearsal? Well, the rehearsals in general, is it a month prepared, like saying for the Grammys, you prepare months in advance, or is it a month?
Let's talk about Super Bowl, right?
Okay, Super Bowl is coming up.
Excuse me. So let's talk about Super Bowl. I started Super Bowl preparation Thanksgiving, and that show is not until February 12th.
Okay.
And so we are in it heavy right now. I came home to do this with you, but
Thank you.
We in it real heavy, and we work so hard leading up to that type of show because we want the day of to feel like just another day.
Right.
We don't want to have the pressure of what are we doing? We don't know this well enough. It's just ingrained in your DNA by that time once you work that hard and that long on something that you do it with excellence and it's just secondary nature, hopefully. So that's why we prepare like we do. But the day of is kind of like, it's intense for everybody else, but a lot of times you're just worried about not messing up, but because you've worked so hard on preparing and rehearsing, hopefully it's just second nature at that point.
Okay. I think that was definitely great insight. I'm forgot, but didn't forget about the Super Bowl coming up. So this year is what we headlining is Riri, right?
Rihanna is the Super Bowl halftime, so we're looking forward to that, and
it's gonna be an amazing time.
Gonna be really good.
I mean, last year's was amazing. Seeing you rock out with Dr. Dre and Eminem and Mary J. It was the Snoop. No, 50 Cent came. Snoop popped up too, right?
Kendrick.
Yeah, it's always amazing when I see you doing your thing when they just say
Thank
Adam
you.
Blackstone All-Star BBE Band. I'm always like, yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, that's my guy. I'm so happy in what you're doing and everything like that. So, which award show would you say is more your favorite that you like to do? You don't have a favorite. Just wondering.
Yeah, no, they all are very special to me in different in different aspects, I would definitely say BET Awards, because even their phrase is bringing culture together, right? And so it's like, it is no doubt in my mind that hip hop and R&B has become the new pop music, and it infiltrates the world.
Right, it's
And
true.
so it's really great to see our people come together and showcase why we're so good at what we do. So that's a great show of mine, that I like to do. And then, on a total opposite end of the spectrum, I had an amazing time doing last year's Oscars. The Academy Awards represent so much. It's a distinguished event. It showcases a different level of skill set for me, with me scoring and doing classical music and
Yes.
show tunes and stuff like that. So I was able to really, venture out and expand my musical palette a little bit by doing that show. So last year it was
Oscars was
a
good.
little bit of everything.
The Oscars was good, except for that one incident we won't talk about.
You know,
Besides that, I was
yeah,
like,
no comment on
it
that.
still was excellence all across the
But
board,
you know what?
everywhere
Even
else.
with that, right? Our Philly brother,
Philly was
we
in the
represented
building.
and won that award that time. So shout out Questlove and
Yes.
winning his Oscar.
I was so proud of him and what Philly's represent. Philly was definitely in the building heavy. Didn't Jill win something too?
Jill was there.
Yeah,
and
like,
Jill also performed
that's
in
what
the
it
in
was.
memoriam. Yeah,
That's what
so,
it was. She performed.
shout
It
out
definitely,
Jill.
we definitely were in the building. I felt it was a very Philadelphia Oscars. It very much was so. In all aspects.
In all aspects.
So let's talk about some artists. Like, what's some of your top artists that you enjoy working with so far? Nobody, don't get offended.
Yeah,
It's just-
no specific order.
No specific order, yeah.
I think the ones that I'm gonna just talk about who has early impacted me.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
And like helped me even do what I do now. Jill Scott.
Shout out to Jill.
Shout out Jill.
Shout out to Jill.
Kanye West for sure. Me going on a Glow in the Dark tour in 07, 08 prepared
Ooh,
me
Kanye's
for life.
prime.
Yeah, and so yay. The iconic Janet Jackson.
Gotta shout out to Janet. Shout out to Janet.
Nicki Minaj is another one that definitely
Queen of rap.
help establish who I am, in my own like pop hip hop bag, and then we can go to very recently, like Justin Timberlake,
JT.
and working with him and Jay-Z specifically is like two iconic culture shifting people in very different ways, but like the end goal is always greatness with them.
Yeah, they're very different artists, but they're so talented.
For sure. So I would say those have been
Some of the most influential.
some of the most influential people in my career, because once you work with somebody like Kanye or Janet or Jay-Z or Justin or Jill, you're able to they have their own
brand and sound and different.
Well, they have their own like musical children spawned from them, so you're able to kind of just go do whatever.
I got
after
you.
that. Like doing Jill Scott to prepare me for anybody in soul music.
That's
anybody,
true.
you know what I mean?
That's true.
Working with Janet Jackson prepare me for any iconic female that it's like it's Janet, so I can now go do
anyone
yeah,
else.
you know what I mean? So it feels really good to be a part of their lineage and their legacy to help have had established mine.
Yes, I feel the same way. Doing this interview with him is able. That's how I feel about
it's
Adam.
about preparedness, right?
Yes.
That's what we talk about.
Like I said, it's a pleasure, so much with him being here, answering all these questions, giving all these jewels and these insights of what it is to be like a musical director and making an industry. A lot of people that we interview here are up and coming, maybe haven't reached that level, but it's still going to get a lot of insight with things that you've said. So, how do you feel about, leaving a legacy? Like, you're basically the next African-American MD. I feel like I haven't seen too many. I remember, like, Ray Chu and the crew from Apollo, and it was a few, but how does that feel? Having that,
She fell.
She all right?
It's the hip.
It's the hips. They didn't grew since the Bruno Mars. I'm telling her since that Bruno Mars tour, the Victoria's Secret tour. It's all right. Okay, I'm about to wrap it up. So how do you feel like, doing that? Like, okay, let me start here. So how do you feel as far as carrying the legacy of the, an African-American musical director? There isn't too many that we've seen. Ray True and the crew, one of the ones from Apollo. I remember it isn't too many that we've seen. How do you feel? Like you said, be that
So
next person.
with me being the next,
Yeah, you're the next. You're it.
yeah,
You it.
I don't
You're
know
not even
if
the
I'm.
next. You it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was about to say I don't know if I'm next. I'm kind of like
You
now,
it. You now.
and so there has been for me so many black MDs that weren't highlighted. You know, we look at Patrice Rushen.
Okay.
We look at
You did
Questlove.
say
You
Quest.
know, we look at Ricky Minor, who did Whitney Houston for a long time, and then branched out to be the incredible musical director for television. You mentioned Ray Chu. You know, Big Jim, rest in peace, was a huge part of like, you know, a lot of these shows and a lot of people's sound. But I've learned from all of them, and you know what I'm doing now is definitely a catalyst of their hard work as
Right.
well, and opening the doors for somebody like me. And so I'm just trying to do the same thing for the next generation in line. It's so many talented black and brown kids out there, and I don't even want to say kids, but just people that are taking what I do and what other MDs have done to like a whole nother level. They just need the opportunity.
Right.
And so if I can provide that opportunity along with showing integrity and showing them character traits that will allow them to have longevity in the business, that's what I'm trying to do.
Right. I think that's amazing. I'm glad you dropped all those names because some people don't know. And I feel like, you know, that's why I really wanted to have you on the cover because I feel like your name is people, they hear it. But like, you know, the behind the scenes people are the people that really are making these stars be who they are. Music director executing the show or, you know, the Super Bowl performance, making them look like as good as they are on TV. You're the backbone to that.
Yeah, I try to, like I said, bring the artist's vision to light. It's really about them.
Right.
And then once they're successful, you know, I feel accomplished.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
But today is about you.
let's do
Today
it.
is about you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
highlighting you. We're highlighting him and giving him his flowers today here at East Coast Magazine. So let's talk about the new album.
Yes.
Talk about the new album, Legacy. So how was it transitioning from MD to now artist?
It's rough.
Oh, man.
It is rough. Never in a million years that I think I would be an artist. You know, we lost some great people. I lost some great friends. And I lost some family members through COVID.
Rest in peace, everyone, COVID.
And that really was the driving force for me to really do this album. I did not want to leave this earth with like a laptop full of ideas or ideas in my head or something, even no disrespect to any artist I've worked with, but like, you know, I wanted to leave something of my own for my children.
Right.
And so I began the legacy process of making this album, you know, probably end of the summer, and then gave myself, you know, 40 days to kind of like knock it out. And by the end of the process, I was like, oh, this is good.
It is good. It's really good.
And then other people started to say it was good, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, this is growing. And so, you know, from a side musician to out front as an artist, it has been a tough transition for me. I can't even front. The way I maneuver, the way I'm trying, I have tried to be under the radar. I can't really do that as an artist. You know, my team, you know, they challenge me to be more forward thinking and like be out in the forefront a lot, and like they'll, you know, I got a bunch of women on my team. They smack me up real good. Marche and Ebony and
Shout out to
Yvonne.
Ebony and Marche.
Yeah, it's like they be like, "What are you doing? Step out front. You're not just a bass player."
The musical director is very different.
Like, okay.
Yes. Get out
but
the
then,
nest.
but then once it happens, I love it, and I feel free, and I feel fresh, and I feel inspired, and I feel inspiring by doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To see my growth as a musician, side musician, to now front artist is inspiring for people from what I've heard.
Yes.
And I'm going to continue to try to, you know, hold that down and be that. And it also shows how I made the album shows how much I've sewn into people and artists, because when I was making those calls in return to get people like Kurt Franklin and Queen Latifah and Jill, and, you know, Jasmine, all of these people, you know, they didn't hesitate to
To
hop
help you
on.
out.
You know what I mean? And
Jill's on it
get on
too.
these records. Jill's on the record. She's on the title track Legacy.
Yes.
Some of my other favorite Philadelphia
Isn't DJ
people.
Jazzy Jeff on there too?
Jazzy Jeff is on there.
I mean, it's all the hitters
It's
on
the
here.
hitters on there.
And
Lauren
that just shows.
Talese, the
Oh my
Baylor
gosh.
Project, Leslie Odom Jr.
Mm.
It goes. It really goes.
It does, and it's a really good album. It's definitely, to me, it feels like jazz.
Yeah, we just went #1 on the contemporary jazz charts.
What? No, yes,
that's
number
cool.
one.
Number
Yes,
one.
clap, clap, clap for you.
And so yeah, it encompasses who I am though. It's at the end of the day, it's just good music.
Yes.
I'm influenced by jazz, soul, hip hop, gospel, R&B, and that is a conglomerate of
what Legacy is.
all of what Legacy is, and it
Yes.
shows that at all times, music has the power to heal, change the world. It has the power to make you emotional in a good way and a bad way, depending on what the song is. We have a tribute on there to Chadwick Boseman by
yes.
his wife.
His wife, right?
Simone. And so, like, it's one of those
Rest in
moments
peace,
where,
Chad.
you're able to reflect, and I'm glad music has the power to do that, and my music has been inspiring to people. We got the Grammy
Yes.
nomination for Around
Grammy
Midnight.
nominated artist.
Yeah, myself and Jasmine Sullivan, featuring Jasmine Sullivan. So
Yes, not Philadelphia native.
We're
Y'all
gonna
didn't
see
know.
what happens coming up real soon. Bring them trophies
Yes,
home.
yes, bringing trophies home all
That's right.
2023 and 2022 because you brought home one as well.
Got the
so-
Emmy last year, so that was
Yes.
really good. So listen, we up
He's
from
up.
there. I'm so thankful to God.
Yes, I think, and I believe you're going to get this. I believe.
believe it?
I believe because you've
All
sown
right.
the work, and you also know the background people. See, when you know the background people, it has always helped you. It's good to know the people in the front, but the background.
Yeah, no, for
you
sure.
know those
and being nice to those
and
people
being
too,
nice,
you know,
right?
so
Right.
I'm like, hey, listen,
Yes.
I put that work in. Let's see what happens. But
It's
just
all in
being
God's
nominated,
hands.
I ain't gonna hold you, Shay. It's like it's really just a mind blowing experience. You know, when you have a thought and an idea in your head and in your stomach, and you're sensitive as an artist. You know, I remember Erykah Badu saying, "Keep in mind, I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my ish, right?"
Yes.
And so I didn't know what that really
Feels like.
meant until you like, wait, people have to hear what I did in my own studio. And so to be recognized and validated as, one of the top R&B traditional songs of the year, it
Yes.
really feels cool. And then,
It's amazing.
Barack put it up.
Yes,
last
he did.
week.
I saw that
was
too.
Pretty crazy.
On his list.
Yeah.
I had a screenshot and sent to the group chat. I was like, you see this? Do you see
Yeah,
this?
so-
What Adam is doing? I mean, like, again, going back from Willingboro, New Jersey to Philadelphia, to early 2000s to 2022, 2023 now, Grammy nominated artist.
Yes, for sure. We
Wow.
doing it. God is good.
God
and just,
is.
it's very much about evolution. And I'm going to continue to, keep rising.
Yes, yes, yes. So what is so where do you see yourself now? And like in the next 5 years, what is the next thing for Adam?
Winning the Emmy last year really showed me that all things are possible. I knew that, but I don't think I knew 20 years ago that was even a goal of mine, because it wasn't, So now that I'm Grammy nominated, I want to try to go for, I'm working on some Broadway things. I want to try to go for a Tony. I'm going to try to write some
Nice.
tunes, go for the Oscar. And so, like, hey, in 5 years, I see me as EGOT status
Ooh.
for sure.
Okay, well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
anybody for the Broadway play? I'm an actress.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I can do all that. I can switch the hats real quick.
Let's do it. We're working on a great project that should be premiering really soon. So.
Yes, I'm so happy. I think that's amazing. The next 5 years, I do see that for you. And I feel like you set your mind to it. You go after that.
Oh yeah, words have power for sure.
Definitely.
Thoughts have power. So I'm thinking all positive thoughts.
Yes, yes. So I would say, is there any advice? I know you've already gave a lot of jewels, but any advice as we kind of close out that you want to give and the artists or musicians coming up in the
Yeah, just
industry?
young musicians and artists, remain humble. Know that your talent is a gift. You never know who that intern, that person behind the desk, that server at a restaurant, who they could turn out to be. So try to be nice to everybody, because you're going to need favors in return one day. You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
So that's what I would say. Remain a good character person.
Yes, I agree. And what will you say is? I really agree with that because that does matter a lot. What you just said, I don't want to
Yeah.
breeze over it because it really does matter. You never know who's going to be what in the
Yeah,
future.
for sure.
You never
And when
know.
you're gonna need something from somebody,
Right.
you know,
So you don't want to
this
burn bridges, right?
don't burn bridges. But not just that. It's like, you know, people remember you when you're nice to them. And so, you know, if you are in turn going to sell them a product, you want them to want to support. You know
Right.
what I mean? So, you know, that's what I mean by just remaining integral.
Yes, that's a big thing, integrity, and you can see that with you. And there's no other way you get these artists from all walks of life. Like I said, you got Queen Latifah, that's my girl. You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got people. You know, you've got all walks of life on this album. It shows how much love and how much respect, how much work you put in, and it just proves your integrity.
Thank
You
you.
know, like everything's legacy is an example of truly of who you are as a person.
Yes.
So I
Thank you very
definitely,
much,
you're
Shop.
welcome. You're welcome. So I want to close out, and I wanted to say again, thank you for
Thank you
having
for
you
having
here, East
me.
Coast Magazine.
ECM.
ECM, look out for his article. It should be up already if you're tuning into this. It's on www.eastcoastmag.com. You can follow us at East Coast Magazine on Instagram and on Facebook. You can follow Adam
At Adam Blackstone, Twitter and Instagram, and
yes,
adamblackstone.com for all other updates. And yeah, just look out for the great things that we have coming up.
Super Bowl with Riri. She back.
She back.
That's the next big thing. And then the Grammys, you know, right there too.
That's right.
So we do keep on lookout what Adam's gonna do. Make sure you follow him and tap in with him. I mean, he's now. We're so happy to have him this month, and we really appreciate you again.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you,
family.
Adam. Thank you. All right, coasters. We'll see you next time. Shakone Bird, COO of East Coast Magazine. I'll see y'all next time.